Well, my name is Dusty Newton. I'm completing my 16th year here at the University of Nebraska at Kearney, UNK, the Counseling Student Affairs program, just like you're going through. I did my undergraduate at Hastings College here in Nebraska. Have my bachelor's degree in psychology and human resource management. While I was an undergrad, I was an RA, involved in student government and things like that. And so when I was getting ready to graduate, I was trying to decide what am I going to do with myself. And I didn't think that I wanted to go to grad school right away. So I started applying for housing positions, like residence hall director positions and then admissions positions. And I ended up, first admissions job was at Midland University in Fremont, Nebraska. And I was there for about 3 years and decided that I wanted to, this was student affairs, admissions was an area that I wanted to stay in. And so I knew I needed an advanced degree to move up. And so there was a position open here at Kearney. And I grew up just about 70 miles southwest of here. So spent a lot of time in Kearney growing up. And so I applied, got the job, and I started here in 1998. And then as an admissions counselor, I started my degree, I think, in 1999. And while I was traveling and working for the university, and I got done in 2002. And so I just worked my way up to assistant director, associate director, and then I ended up the director of admissions. So that's kind of how, and that was 10 years ago. So I've been in student affairs almost 20 years now. One of the things that I personally like about the degree that you're in now, and hopefully you can see this, Ramesh, for everything that you've been involved in. For me, again, I worked for 4 years before I started the degree. So I saw the benefit of the degree. It is a school counseling degree essentially with an emphasis in student affairs. And so I saw the benefit because in student affairs, I think, what do we do on a daily basis, whether in admissions we're trying to get a student to come to UNK, or you're helping a student with a problem that they have. Obviously we're not mental health counselors, but you can help that student, counsel that student to get to the right resources and those kinds of things. So I do think we spend a lot of time counseling students. So for me, having getting that background with the degree really helped me understand my role a little bit more, and I think really helped me advance my career. So yeah, I think student affairs professionals have a tremendous impact on the students. I think our primary role is to partner with the academic, because what's the most important thing about the university? It's the academic side and the student getting their degree and, moving on. But student affairs plays a huge role in that, in supporting that endeavor. Think about how many students you work with on a daily basis and helping them in whatever it might be, supporting their academic initiatives and goals. So And we're the ones that student affairs is a fairly young idea, in that it was the 60s when student affairs, prior to student affairs, faculty lived in the residence halls with students and dealt with all those student issues. So I think it's about finding a balance between the academic and student affairs side, which I think we do a pretty good job here at UNK, and supporting each other for the ultimate goal for the students to be successful. Yeah, I graduated from high school when I was 17, so I went to college when I was 17, graduated from college when I was 21, so got my first job then at 21, and then that was in 1995. So, and in 2004 I became the interim director of admissions. So I must have been, I'm single, not married. I have a little miniature dachshund that keeps me busy, and my sister, my sister is actually just getting married, but I have 2 nieces and a nephew. So my parents still live in this part of the country. So and I'm a first generation college student. So neither of my parents had a 4-year degree. They're both trade type degree people, and they are very successful, but neither one of them knew anything about college. So I've gone up through the ranks as well as a first generation college student, and kind of had to figure that out on my own. And which a good share of our students, about 40% of our student body, is first generation here. So I definitely knew going through the program that I made the right decision. I learned a ton about myself going through the program. I learned a lot. I can think of one of my mentors was Kent Estes, who used to be the chair of the program, who passed away several years ago. And in fact, he passed away right before I graduated from the program. And but I learned a lot about myself, and yeah, I knew coming out of that it was the right thing. I think what I continue to think about, and not struggle with, but struggle with a little bit, is the PhD. Do I need to? I have not begun that yet, and do I need to move on to the next level? So, yeah. But I love student affairs. Love, and admissions, I think, is a very different. Admissions is, working more with the students as they come in, and then, once we get that class enrolled, we kind of switch to the next, so admissions is a little bit different, but, in admissions, what we do, the students that we bring in have to be academically prepared, and have to be, if we're going to retain them and hopefully help them be successful and graduate. They're here, and prior to him starting here, admissions and financial aid was actually on the academic affairs side of the house. So it's been really good for us to move back to student affairs and really engage. In 2004, I became the interim director because my predecessor left, and so they appointed me the interim. So the first thing I had to do, because I was a young 30-year-old young professional, I really knew that I had to prove myself as someone who was going to make a change. if I wanted the job, because they were going to do a national search for the director's position. And so right away, I started looking at the whole operation and making changes, which we were able to implement pretty quickly over the next year and a half. Then I was fortunate enough to, I think, make enough positive change that when I applied, went through the interview process, I had to go through that just like every other candidate, and got the job. And then from there, as an institution, we were really moving forward and trying to think about who we are as an institution. And one of the things that we had never worked on was a strategic enrollment plan. So, when you think about enrollment strategically, that's thinking about all things like, well, how many overall students, what's our capacity? How many students can we handle at UNK? How many international students? How many graduate students? How many international graduate students do we think? So we didn't start thinking about that strategically until about 2008. And I helped facilitate, we brought in a national consultant firm, Noel Levitz, which is a higher education consulting firm, and they really helped us build a strategic enrollment plan. And since then, we've just been continuing to refine and capitalize on that. I think embrace it, enjoy the classes, and the important thing is never stop learning. I think there's a lot of literature out there in student affairs that you need to continue to make yourself aware of, and just always staying on top of. Students are ever changing, so just keeping up.
I would define Dusty as a passionate, trustworthy, reliable, professional administrator who sees his staff and students as wholeheartedly as the true Loper that they are, and empowers them to the best of their ability.
Dusty is hardworking and always a great mentor and someone that you can always feel comfortable.
He has taught me more about the admissions process and higher education than I ever thought that there was possible. So I really look to him like a mentor.
Okay. Just one.
One word for Dusty. Leader.
Compassion. Motivational.
Passionate.
Trustworthy.
Outgoing.
Awesome.
Awesome.